Hey, everybody, welcome to the Out About. I'm Patrick, and you all know my friends.
Shirley.
Buttermilk.
Eric.
And Jerry.
And we're the Animal Crew. That's not right, are we? What do they call it? The Morning Zoo.
Morning Zoo.
This is the Morning Zoo. Is it the morning?
We're the
Any
evening
time of the day
zoo.
zoo.
Evening Zoo. When did we drop? Do we drop in the mornings?
We
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
Okay. Clearly, I'm always the first download.
Clearly. Clearly.
Well, it's good to be back. It's been a hot minute. Lots have gone on. Things have gone on. We've missed a couple episodes. I mostly blame Jerry for that, but
Really?
we're back now.
No. Well, work.
It's been quite fun. So for those of you who don't know, in the yard or just in general, things are kind of like crazy busy. They always get this way towards the end of the year, and it seems like a lot of people choose to change jobs or whatever around the beginning of the new year. So we get a huge influx of applicants and going through all that. And then also because Christmas is so slow, we actually limit the time in December where we'll move teams into a truck. And if it's too late in the season, you actually get bumped to January. And so it's like the mad rush before the cutoff to get everybody into trucks and get everything buttoned up and add on there the complication of Thanksgiving, and it just becomes a lot. So that's what we've been doing, and of course I think last week, Jerry, you had a family obligation and weren't able to be here, correct?
Yes.
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 For the holiday, for Thanksgiving, I was out of town. We went to see Don's family, so.
Oh, that's nice. Where at?
Upper Michigan, not the UP, but the northern lower part of Michigan.
So upper lower Michigan.
Yes, thank you. They're like literally right. Water separates them from Canada.
Wow.
Wow.
Can they swim to it?
No.
Can they see it?
Yeah, can they see it?
No.
Can they see it from their front steps?
No.
Because in Alaska, there's places you can see Russia from. Anyways,
Did you have turkey or ham or both?
Turkey.
Very nice.
Gobble gobble.
Gobble gobble.
It was good. It's a good time seeing them. I mean, Don had not seen his family in a year, and it had been last Christmas since we had been up there. So
Right.
it was.
Did
good
Don
seeing
bake
him.
anything?
No, he didn't.
what?
He left all the cooking up to his mom.
Oh, was he a sous chef? Did he help?
He helped clean up and
Well, that
wash
counts.
dishes,
That counts.
but he didn't cook.
No desserts from Dawn, huh?
Nope.
No bread.
You know what?
Oh, he did help make stuffing. Yeah,
That counts.
he was putting the bread in the toaster and breaking it up. So he did help do that.
Very nice.
I was raised like when you're done with, done eating. If you are old enough, the kid go help. Mostly teenagers. You go help in the kitchen, clean up, and all that stuff, right? And as always, kind of being that person, I always just would go and help clean up and get plates cleaned out, use the dishwasher if we had extra trash, run to the road, all that good stuff. It was a small Thanksgiving. I was down in Birmingham, Alabama, seeing my family. There was only 6 of us there, so it was pretty small little gathering. There was enough food for 18 because
Of course.
we're an Alabama Baptist family, and Thanksgiving's not complete unless you have all 14 dishes.
Yeah.
No turkey though. That was a little sad. We did ham. My grandmother's getting to the age where she has days where she could do stuff and days she can't.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a day she can do stuff, don't you dare get in her way. So we were trying to help put dishes away and stuff, and she was like, no, I got it. Get out of my way, whatever. And you see 90-something-year-old frail woman who just is like, no, do not do that. Because she feels like it's undermining her, right?
Sure.
By trying to help. So it was one of those things where it's the right thing to do right now is to back off. Yeah. And that's difficult when it's been, beaten into your head of you will clean those plates up and you will do this after, and you will, don't make your grandmother work so hard, whatever. To have to be okay, well, I have to let you do this, even though it's completely unnecessary.
Sure.
Right.
But I had a great time. We played cards. I think I sent y'all the picture, didn't
You
I?
did.
Did.
But none
There
of
were
you,
a lot
none
of
you.
cards.
A lot of cards.
A lot of
I thought there
cards.
were multiple card games going on at the same table.
Yeah, no, it's one game that we play, and each person gets 9 cards face down, plus there's 4 draw decks, 1 withdraw or
Discard.
discard stack. Thank you. And I think the entire playing is like 14 decks of cards.
Wow.
It's a lot.
That's
Is
crazy.
it golf?
Yes, it's a lot of fun. Typically, I do decent at it. I'm usually like dead center of the pack, and this time I came in second, only to my sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
So
Mel beat you?
yeah,
She didn't say a word about that yesterday or today. I'm surprised.
I'm surprised as well.
I am surprised she didn't say a word about that. I thought she'd be gloating the whole time.
She probably waiting for me to get there.
Probably.
You know,
Probably
I wasn't
was.
there today, so that's probably what it was. But no, it was a lot of fun. My uncle, who always wins, he came in third. Oh, it was beautiful. But yeah, it was. I did the thing, the thing where you like start making your plate, and you get halfway through, and you're like, my plate is full,
Yeah.
and I've got 6 more items to put
Yeah.
on here. So it was a nice little mountainous thing. Someone was like, "How's the squash castle?" And I'm like, "I'll let you know when I get to it. Like, I got to dig down and get rid of the." It was like a chicken stuffing. She called it something else. I can't remember the name of it. It was phenomenal, but it was on top of the squash casserole, so just kind of had to layer at that point. And then as soon as I was done, I was like, "Why did I do this to myself?" Yeah, I was in so much pain. It was a beautiful thing. It was glorious.
How many were at your Thanksgiving, Jerry?
40.
No, not that many. I think
39.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Dozen.
7, 8, 10.
That's small. I thought he normally had a lot big family.
Well, his nephew and his wife and their baby is 1 year old now, and then his niece and her husband, they all do live in the UP of Michigan. So it's like a 7-8 hour drive for them to come down.
Gotcha. And they didn't want to take the boat.
Yeah. So they all stayed up there and had a Thanksgiving of their own and stayed together and everything. So it was a few less than normal.
Cool. Melissa and I had a quiet Thanksgiving. I took care of the meal.
Oh.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
went over to Kroger and got some deli sliced ham and some deli sliced turkey.
Nice.
And they had little half cans of cranberry sauce. I'd never seen those before.
I've never seen that either.
Yeah, half can of cranberry sauce. I got some mac and cheese from the deli counter.
What?
They did
Oh,
ha-
come on.
They did have stuffing at the deli counter as well. So I did the whole meal from the Kroger deli counter and took it home and laid out a nice spread, and we had a nice, quiet Thanksgiving.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
You know, what I've done before, because I don't like that deli mac and cheese, is I'll go in, the individual cups of Velveeta shells and cheese.
Okay, yeah.
Get that. You just gotta add a little water
Yeah.
and microwave it, and you get the Velveeta. And it's mwah,
Yeah, well, I did the deli mac and cheese, so
nice.
yeah.
How'd it taste?
It wasn't great. None of it. I mean, the ham and turkey. You can't really go wrong with deli ham and turkey. But the other stuff, it wasn't great. So we decided, to heck with this.
Yes.
We're not doing this. Why don't we go to New Orleans and have fun in New Orleans for Thanksgiving? So, noon,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Day, we flew down to New Orleans
Nice.
and wandered around Bourbon Street a little bit.
How was the traffic?
Traffic on Bourbon Street?
No, on the flying down. I mean,
wasn't bad.
Flying
Our-
on Thanksgiving, it's got to be.
Our flight was full, but traffic wasn't bad. It was one of the guys there at the airport said that it was like the last flight was at 3:00, and the airport wasn't packed. It was very light, very light. So, when we got to New Orleans, we're walking through, that last exit before you go out of the sterile area into the public area, and we walk past security. And it was completely empty.
It was like a ghost town.
The only people there were the TSA officers checking ID, and they're just sitting there. There's nobody coming in. It was completely
And
empty. So it
that's
was
new in New
bizarre.
Orleans.
Yeah.
On
That's a-
Thanksgiving Day.
That's a big TSA area.
Yeah, it is big.
It's huge and it's completely vacant. Wow, that's
Completely
crazy.
vacant, so,
Vince and I laughed. We joked. I'm like, well, this will be completely different when we fly home.
yeah.
So
So it was good. But I did take care of our Thanksgiving dinner. I stepped up to the host desk and said, 2, please.
Okay, as you should.
As I should,
Yes.
Gave her my name, my phone number. We had a little bit of a wait. So we wandered around Bourbon Street some more and waited and hung out and did, the Bourbon Street stuff.
Yeah.
They went back when they texted me. They went back, and again, I took care of business. I typed one return or send to let them know we were on our way. We walked over, and I again stepped up to the host desk. Vincent for two. Oh, yes, sir. Let's take you up. So I took one upstairs, and
You know what's crazy? I didn't realize until just now that Crystal Burger had a host stand.
On Thanksgiving Day when they're as busy as they were,
They get fancy.
They had to have a host stand. Yeah.
Was she in
I mean,
tux?
there was nobody in the restaurant.
Okay.
I mean, they made us wait just because they were trying to give that air. And if you walk into a restaurant like that and they seat you immediately, you're like,
Oh, well,
something's wrong.
made a mistake.
Yeah, it was
especially
just
New
the right place
Orleans.
to eat.
Especially New Orleans.
So they made us wait 45 minutes, but it was 45 minutes to the second too, and went back to Crystal Burger.
Well, they set an egg timer.
got us some burgers.
It's funny where we went. They had the specialty menu for the night, and it was all Thanksgiving stuff. And Vince and I glazed over it, and I'm like, I'm not wanting Thanksgiving stuff. And I set the menu,
Yeah.
and he's like, me neither. And we opened up the regular menu, but we did. We had a good dinner. Finished it off with some good live music.
Yeah, we did.
They were some R&B, little Stevie Wonder, and it was just really good music. They all took turns. There was 4 of them, plus the band members that played instruments. So it was nice. They all had a different sound.
Was that at the restaurant or was that
No,
like
it was at
after?
it was at a different location.
Gotcha.
So
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anything exciting happened in Louisiana?
Every year I get to spend time with both sides of the family, mom's side and dad's side. So I have to spend half my day in the city and the rest of my day in the country. As far as food goes, they had a wide variety of stuff. They did ham and turkey, so I got to eat both. Something special about my mom's side of the family, they do rice dressing with liver. I hate
Okay,
liver.
I'm sorry. You said rice dressing, right?
Rice dressing.
I thought you said ranch dressing with liver.
I
and
did
I was
too.
very
yeah.
confused.
I did too. Yeah.
rice dressing
Rice.
with liver.
So
Yeah.
so do they mix rice with bread or is it just rice?
Rice, meat, and liver.
Yeah, they'd say dirty rice.
Dirty rice.
Yeah, with liver.
And that's what they're calling stuffing.
No, it's
No,
not
it's
stuffed
no,
in
that's
anything.
rice. It's different.
Oh,
It's
it's
called
just-
dressing.
Oh,
It's just
Dressing.
rice.
Yeah.
okay. So
You've got-
in my world,
You
dressing
can
and
stuff
stuffing
it
are
into
the
something
same.
if you
No.
want.
Yes, I understand that because I'm from kind of that world too.
Yeah.
But I'm also from the world where dressing is different than stuff.
Well, let me ask you this: is supper and dinner the same thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
well.
I understand the dressing thing because my dad is from Crowley, Louisiana,
Yeah.
which is not far from where Eric is from.
Yep.
So and he always has to have his rice dressing on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
my mom uses the chicken gizzards. She doesn't use liver. She uses the gizzards that come with the chicken.
Yeah. The
Sorry,
turkey.
with the turkey. Yeah. And that's what she makes her dressing with. So that's why I understand that.
Are they big
concept.
chunks of liver, or do they mash them up?
I don't know. I don't eat
They
it.
get chopped up. No, they get chopped up pretty fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, they're recognizable as pieces of meat.
Sure.
but if
they
you're
get
just
chopped up pretty
if you're
fine.
just walking by the stove and you saw one without liver, one with liver, you wouldn't notice the difference.
I see.
But you go to bite into it.
You'll know the difference.
Yep. So I have an aunt who specially makes a bowl of rice dressing without liver, just for me.
Nice.
That's
Oh,
sweet.
very cool.
And her
That's
bowl
love.
her bowl gets bigger and bigger every year, which is not
Yeah.
good for me.
Well, you
'Cause I'm
soak it
not-
in water and it gets big. No.
Because it was made for me, and nobody else getting this rice dressing.
That's like my sister Melissa. She hates
Everything.
everything. She hates peanuts and walnuts and all that kind of stuff. And so Mom would always make this dessert, which was delicious, and it was kind of like a pudding dish with a crust, and there were crushed walnuts, I think, inside of it. And there'd always be she wouldn't make a whole new dish for Melissa typically. There'd just be a square where she just wouldn't put any nuts. And so, but it was obvious because it changed the whole color. Like it went from being like a dark green or whatever it was to being like bright because it didn't have any of those walnuts in it. So it was very obvious which was hers. And if you took a slice of that,
Don't touch hers.
no. Because then she'd be like, all right, who took my piece? And, yeah.
Like I said, my portion gets a little bigger each year. So eventually, I'm just gonna eat rice dressing for dinner.
I
No meats, no beans.
Do they do anything else? I mean,
Yeah.
like unique things like that. I just like to hear traditions.
Not really.
No, it's just typical, frog legs and jambalaya,
Right.
red beans, the
Yeah.
typical stuff everybody
stuff.
in America eats.
Yeah.
Fried gator.
Fried gator, fried turkey.
I was going to ask Jerry, does Dawn's family do unique food
Yes.
for up there?
Ground bologna.
I'm sorry.
Round bologna.
Ground bologna.
What are we
Is it
doing with it?
Bologna pre-ground, and then you shove
Right,
it into a
into a casing, yeah.
casing.
They add other ingredients to it, but it's like a mashed potato type thing.
Like a
So
pate?
it's like
Is
a-
it for crackers?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like a
Oh.
bologna salad. When we were in Washington Courthouse that time,
Yes.
at Bee Park, it had the ham salad and all the
Yes.
different meat salad.
Yep.
So it's kind of like that is my guess.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And then they also do meat pie, which is
Yeah, buddy.
like pork and a couple other kinds of stuff.
Say it
and
slower.
Tons of spices and
And are these for pre-gaming dinner or during dinner?
both.
Both.
Yeah. Like every year for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think this year, she did, 15 meat pies.
Wow.
Like,
Wee.
they're all gone.
Are
Like,
they
Are they-
little handheld like an apple?
like a whole pie.
Okay.
Oh.
I was going to say, so down in Louisiana, crawfish pie comes two ways. One is that it almost like an empanada, almost kind of
Yeah.
looking thing,
Like a ham
or
pie.
or it can be a legit pie, like
Wow.
a 13-inch or whatever diameter crawfish pie. I've seen them both ways. They're both normal, and I like both of them. So I'm assuming the meat pies are probably the same thing because we do meat pies down
So
there.
you're
as
doing
well,
meat
but
pies and the ham and turkey if you had that, and you're doing all of that.
do they get the meat
Shoosh.
pies from Barber Street? Not Barber Street. What's it called?
Barber Street.
Is it Barber Street? Yeah. That's it. Edward Scissorhands
Sweeney-
joke. Or
oh.
Sweeney Todd's.
Sweeney
I
Todd.
think it's wrong.
I
No,
get
it sounds
it.
like she
Wrong
made
movie.
it.
Wrong horror movie.
Sounds
Sorry.
like
Oh, she makes them.
And is it beef? You said beef and pork.
It's pork and other kinds of meat. I don't know exactly.
Any
what all goes in
potatoes or
there.
Can-
carrots?
Can
No.
we revisit Patrick's question for a second, though?
Yeah.
Because Jerry mentioned earlier that the nephew and his family and the niece and her family didn't come
It didn't make it.
because it was such a long. Did you actually talk to them or have proof of life that they weren't in the meat pie?
Yes.
Wanted
there
to
was
double check
lots of
that.
FaceTime going on.
Wanted to double check that.
You know,
Okay.
AI has gotten really good.
It has gotten
I'm
really
just
good.
saying.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am not a fan of the meat pies.
What?
I've tried it. Not my thing.
Is there some kind of seasoning that they're using?
Tons of spices. I think there's like 12 or 15 different spices they put in it.
Okay, have you ever had a meat pie out of Louisiana?
No.
Okay, you can usually get them at a good gas station. That's not sarcasm.
They even
but,
you can get them from the store. We have some.
yeah, you can get them at my house if you show up. Actually no, I don't have any. The meat pies I
We
gave
ate them all.
I had some in Jimmy McDonald. If you're watching this, he came and ate all of my meat pies. Now I have crawfish pies here, but not meat pies. And mine are the kind you throw in the deep fryer, but I use them in the air fryer and a little butter on top. Yes, sir. Anyways,
Don
one thing-
actually brought 2 home with him.
Really?
Yeah, he's already ate one.
So it's definitely something he's used to.
Oh, yeah.
Because he grew up there.
oh,
yeah.
well, tell him to heat it up. We'll come to your house afterwards.
Yeah. Appetizer.
Yeah.
Dessert. Nice. Speaking
He-
of
he
dessert,
loves it.
do y'all do 50 different kind of pies?
They do a few different ones, but by the time I'm done with the main course, I have no
Yeah.
room for dessert.
And is it your typical like pumpkin?
And like I said, I have to split Thanksgiving between 2 sides of the family.
You have to share your belly food. I
yes,
get it.
I have
Yeah.
to share space.
That makes sense.
Share
My-
space in the belly.
My aunt, bless her heart. So my aunt and uncle, when they get done eating dinner, they have dessert. They're just that
Ah.
family.
Right.
And so we get done eating, and she's like, "All right, who wants dessert?" And he's like, "I'll take a slice of whatever." She made pecan pie, which she's always made forever. It's one of those she could do it without the recipe. She made pumpkin pie for the first time ever in her entire life.
Wow.
Because 71, 72 years old. It's the time to learn how to make pecan pie. And she made ooey gooey cake.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had cookies and maybe something else. And she was like, "All right, anybody else want a pie?" And I was like,
I need 2 hours.
If I had to, the house caught on fire and I had to run to the exit, I'm not confident I'd make it. And you're asking, can I put? No, we need. It's going to be a little bit.
Wow.
So I did eventually get it. I didn't have any of the pecan pie. I'm sorry. I did not have any of the
Pumpkin.
pumpkin pie, but I did have a couple slices of the pecan pie. I love pecan pie.
Yeah.
A really good pecan pie. I don't
Yeah.
mean the one from Walmart.
No.
I mean like a really
Yeah,
good.
real nutty.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm.
And Jerry, they have pies?
Pumpkin. That's everybody's favorite, so that's pretty
Real
much.
whipped cream too. I could see her making real whipped
she
cream.
did.
Yeah, I could tell with making the meat pies.
I love real
Real whipping cream.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And the-
straight
straight from the
bowl.
tub.
Yes.
Yeah.
The tub?
Yes.
And,
That's
and if you eat all of it, then you have a nice bowl.
Exactly. Take
for
your
taking-
leftovers
absolutely.
with. Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
nobody's using Cool Whip.
Yeah.
I'm talking real whipped cream.
That is Cool Whip is real whipped cream. No,
Cool
it's the
Whip is-
stuff in the can. That's
It's the can, yeah, ready
that's
whip.
Real. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Still doesn't taste like fresh whipped
No, it
cream.
tastes delicious. I love
When the
Cool
pies
Whip.
went in the oven, she was pulling out the KitchenAid mixer and she was starting the whipped cream.
Does anybody's family do fruit salad? Fresh fruit salad with some coconut, whipped cream, the real
Negative.
whipped cream,
No.
Don's mom makes a Waldorf salad.
Waldorf.
Ooh, with the mayonnaise and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. No, our family would always have a lime jello salad,
Mm.
or we would have a fruit cocktail jello salad, or we would have a peaches in jello salad. So I don't know if you're catching a theme here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're like, we believe that fresh fruit should be canned and then
Right.
Nice.
served in some gelatinous form.
Sure. Vince, for you, a fresh fruit family?
My mom would do a ambrosia, is what my dad called it, which is similar to a Waldorf salad. I think it's just different parts of the country.
I see.
So, yeah, we did that, but it wasn't fresh. It was all canned fruit.
Oh,
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
all canned
I
fruit.
think the only thing we ever did really fresh was like watermelon. And that was a special thing, like getting
Sure.
a watermelon and cutting it.
Well,
and
we're
having that.
talking seasons too. You know,
Yeah.
we're talking late fall, early winter for fresh fruit.
yeah. My mom used to make the fresh fruit salad.
It reminds me of we were in Italy. Remember this? I was with Jerry and Eric and Don and a bunch of other people. And one of the ladies we were there with, we went to a grocery store. She brought all this fresh food, our fresh produce, and we're like, "We can do with all that fruit." Get back to the house, and she grabs a bowl, and she just immediately gets in there with a cutting board knife and starts cutting and putting all the stuff in the bowl, and then she took Sprite and made like a Sprite and lemon juice just to put over the fruit, I guess, to preserve it, keep it
Yeah.
from spoiling. So it wasn't a lot; it's just a little bit, and we ate on that for a couple days.
Wow.
It was nice.
Nice. So let's circle back around though to buttermilk. We talked about everyone else's traditions.
Yeah.
But the only one she talked about was her mom's fruit salad, fresh fruit salad. So, what was Thanksgiving like in your house? Turkey, ham.
It was no ham, turkey.
You were the ham.
When I became old enough to cook in the kitchen with my mom, so probably 10, 11, 12, she taught me how to make yeast rolls or bread. So that was kind of my task to do, was making rolls or cinnamon rolls in the morning for breakfast and then rolls for dinner. But we would have the dips and the chips and all that throughout the day, and then we'd have a main meal, and we'd play cards in between things cooking or games. And for a while, we used to have it at our house. And then after my mom passed away, my family would, to be my ex-husband and my children, my family, we would travel to Washington to my mom's sister and her husband's, and we would celebrate it there. And I always remember it being more pies ratio to people. So my uncle really loved playing with the pecan pie recipe, and he would do different types of nuts. And I remember one year he did filberts or hazelnuts. People know them as either. And I got to tell you, that's my favorite nut pie of all time. The flavor, the
Interesting.
flavor
Is
of
it
the
still
nuts with the caramely.
The brown sugary filling is still the same,
Everything was, the whole recipe was the same for his
just
pecan.
different nuts.
He just changed it up with different nuts.
Huh.
Yep. So, but those are the kind of things I remember. But in my mom's house, I was a teenager and was there more to help. I think I hosted Thanksgiving once as a young mother in our house. We did the turkey, all the fixins and all that. But and then when my sons became teenagers, and the oldest went off to the military, and he came home for the first time, he said, "Can we break tradition? And I want a ribeye or a T-bone. He wants a big juicy steak done on the grill." And we obliged him with like 12 inches of snow over our grill in the backyard. But, he had been out on a deployment and came home. And so that started becoming a new tradition, was just, what are you craving when you come home? And that's what Mom will make as a special.
Well,
sometimes it was enchiladas. But
yeah.
just made it a little, and that was just our family of 4 at the time.
Yeah.
So, but whatever the oldest wants.
We would do the big fancy, Thanksgiving my whole life. But I remember the first time I didn't have a normal Thanksgiving. I don't know if y'all can remember the first time you didn't have a normal Thanksgiving, and it was my grandfather had passed away in a couple weeks prior in November. And so we're all up in Alabama, or down, up in Alabama, because I used to live in Louisiana, so it was up. Now it'd be down, but up in Alabama, and we go through and you do the funeral and everything, and big Baptist community up there, so they're just bringing tons of food. I mean, like, we had so much, like,
had to buy another refrigerator,
a ridiculous amount, copious amounts. I mean, like, those ginormous foil trays. And like you see them at catering events, and they have the 2 candles, the 2
Bunsen burners.
Yeah, whatever they are.
What are they called?
What are those things? They're the wax. They're
not
Starno.
Starnos.
The 2 Starnos underneath it, but it's huge, right? Because they have the one with the 1, but I'm talking about the one that's big enough has 2.
Yeah.
And then it's like 3-4 inches tall. We get like that, just all of mashed potatoes, and then you get another one that's all green beans, and it's like. There's like probably 15, 16 of us up here.
Right.
So we're not a small group. We're sizable, but we're not a party tray of, and that was every day. Like you would just get more of that.
You were on the meal train.
Tomorrow you would get more of that. And so we're all hanging out. I think his funeral was like on Tuesday, and Thursday would have been Thanksgiving. And Grandma was like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all this I'm sick of all this food. How do y'all feel about for Thanksgiving me doing a lasagna? Because she could do a mean lasagna. She did it from scratch. Like, she was really good. Like, Jerry's lasagna, how good it was. Yeah. That's kind of her level. Excellent lasagna. And so we're like, yeah, let's do that. So we did lasagna. We did, I don't remember the sides, but they weren't green beans. I think it was like fried okra.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just all the stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think of when you think of Thanksgiving. And that was our first night. And then we sat around the table. And I remember it, too, because us kids, because back then I was not allowed at the adults' table. I was at the kids' table in the sunroom where it was about 118 degrees. I remember sitting around that table after eating, and people had kind of started clearing plates, and all the adults were sitting around the table, and us kids kind of came and got around, and just hearing about all the stories, both of like my grandfather, but also hearing stories about my own dads and uncles and everything. And that's when I realized I come from a group of degenerates. Like, just all the stories, and I'm like, no, really? Like, it was one of the funnest. Like, people laughing it's such a horrible time, just people laughing their butts off, and it was just like, it's memorable. I mean, that was 2000, 2001, something like that, and it's burned into my brain. I could
Probably
still remember
a
it.
good lasagna though for being non-traditional.
Oh
Thanksgiving.
man, well, if we go for the summer, she'd make lasagna for us or something like that, but never for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Like, those were, like the founding of our, or not the founding of our country, but the making, peace with the Indians, which we all know it's crap now, and like being thankful for what we have, and then Jesus himself ordained dinner, for Christmas, and like going from that to we're gonna break tradition was like, whoa, what's happening here?
I think holidays are what you make them, and whatever holiday, and I think as long as you're together and with those that you love, or and just celebrate good food.
Yeah, well, I think that's what you found. Like,
Yeah.
I know for probably 6 or 8 years now, I think we've always been on a cruise for Thanksgiving. This was honestly the first Thanksgiving I've been home or not home, but like with family in
Right.
years. But we usually like my dad and sister will come, or you know what I mean. Like
Sure.
we'll surround ourselves with friends or whatever. Like it was, but it's that you get that family, that togetherness, that thankfulness of people I want to be with, and all that stuff. So I definitely
I ate a lot of good food this weekend.
yes. Well, that's the other thing is so right after that on Black Friday.
Yeah.
I jumped on an airplane and headed down to New Orleans.
You did.
I did. I didn't know you were
I
there.
didn't know you were there. What the heck?
And what hotel were you staying at?
Hotel Mazatlan or something.
Me too. Fourth floor?
I don't think it was
Fifth floor.
Mazatlan.
Oh, I was
it was
fourth
like
floor.
Mazatlan.
Maslin. Yes. Yes. It was right there in the middle of the French Quarter.
Yeah.
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 You're on the 4th floor.
I was on the 4th floor.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful hotel.
We were on the
Wow.
5th.
Small world.
Very, very small world.
Yeah.
No, that was a lot of fun. We obviously met up. Eric drove in, met him at the airport. He returned his car, and then came met me. He actually met me at the baggage claim. It was timed out perfectly.
Wow.
And jumped to an Uber, headed downtown, and had really not bad traffic at all until we got off that interstate.
Got down there into all those
that
one-ways.
French Quarter, New Orleans, is no joke.
Yeah.
The last mile was 60% of our time.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable how long it took to get to the hotel from there.
They don't know you're not supposed to block the intersection for a red light.
Yeah, they don't. Don't block the blocks. The block of the box. They don't believe that there.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Orleans doesn't fine for that. And then just went on to have a great time.
We did.
My aunt and uncle were like, "What are you planning on doing while you're in New Orleans?" And I'm like, "Eat." Like that's. I don't know what else to say. Eat and listen to music. That's it.
Yeah.
And what I do,
we may drink.
Yeah, we had a couple
May
cocktails.
drink.
The first night, so Friday we get there, get the hotel room, get everything set up. It was kind of weird because the hotel room, the hotel was like, I'm going to call it 1980s chic. All the furnishings were kind of antiqued. It kind of reminds me of like, if you think about Mrs. Doubtfire, all right, and you think about the architectural trends that were cool then, the old-fashioned couches with the wood trim on the, and the really cheesy-looking granite and marble that they used.
Yeah.
It was all that. It was just, the building was probably 100-something years old.
Oh, yeah.
But it had
Except
been
for the top 2 floors.
Yes, but it had been remodeled, but it was remodeled, like we had pedestal sinks. Like, it's hard to believe that there was a time where pedestal sinks were, like, so nice.
Did y'all notice how heavily the tree in the center was trimmed? Like, you can look at where they cut it off, and they had to cut
giant
2.5,
I think it was to
3
pull
inch
that top
sections.
over. It
Which
had
I didn't
like
even know
a-
what that was for.
Well, it looked like
Hurricanes?
at some point they could have pulled that over and covered the center courtyard, except now the tree is still above.
It's above it and beyond
where
it,
that would
yeah.
have been, so that probably hadn't been pulled out
It had
in
like
years.
a tent that you could pull all the way down a long wire across
Yeah.
the whole courtyard,
Yeah.
Like
and it
for
would cover
rain.
the
Yeah.
courtyard.
Well, it keeps
so
the
you-
snow off.
It keeps
Rain,
the snow off.
snow.
In South Louisiana,
But
all
it
this
doesn't
stuff.
look like it's been used in probably 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Because again, the tree has grown that much.
You know how like tarp gets that like stale look to it?
Mhm.
It looks like if they even tried, it would just
It would
rip,
just
disintegrate.
Yeah.
Like I was
Um,
saying, whenever you go to prune or trim a tree, you're cutting off just the tips, right?
Yeah.
Well, they cut off like
Big
the
limbs.
spot where the limb was like 2.5, 3 inches thick,
Yeah.
and it still took up the whole courtyard.
But it was beautiful. It really was nice, and the location was perfect.
Yes. Yes. it was.
We got a car one time, and that was because on the first day we actually went up to New Orleans City Park, went to Celebration Under the Oaks, which is, they do it here in in Columbus at the zoo, where they just light the whole zoo up with lights and everything. Same thing in New Orleans it's in their city park, and you're amongst all these oak trees with all this moss, and they have all the Christmas lights and the
themed
stuff. So you'd see like we watched the Cajun Night before Christmas, and we saw the Christmas tree of poinsettias that's 25 foot tall.
Yeah.
You know, so we get to see all that stuff, and
Not to mention the amusement park, the kids'
Yes.
amusement park.
So that's changed since I've been there last. All the rides were included with our ticket, and they have a little baby. I say baby roller coaster. It's a small roller coaster, but it's
I got some
sizable.
thrills
Well,
off of it.
It's small
Yeah.
enough that you go around 3 times.
Yes, it's small enough to go around 3 times, but it's still big. It's not like a little kiddie roller coaster you may think of. And then they have a carousel there, which is over 100 years old. That was fun. We did that together. I love those old. Like, think about how many people have ridden on a carousel that's over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of cool to experience something that, like, my great-great-great-grandparents may have also experienced at some point.
We did slides. They're the big slides.
You cannot believe she got me on that.
I can't believe he got me on the Whirl-A-Twirl or Whip-A-Twirl.
The Tilt-A-Whirl. How do you feel about a Tilt-A-Whirl?
Oh.
Love them.
I love a
Oh.
Tilt-A-Whirl. We had so much
I
fun.
could have done without the
It was a
We
Tilt-A-Whirl.
blast.
had
It was a blast.
Everybody almost bust a gut, except for Melissa.
It was hysterical. Eric and I, like, because I know the Tilt-A-Whirl rules, which are you kind of feel which way the inertia is going and you lean in, right?
Absolutely.
And so as soon as they release the brake, I'm like, which way does she want to go? And it's slowly moving. I'm like, towards me. And I'm like, yeah, lean over, and Eric leans over, and we get that baby spinning. And then you go over that one hill, and you're like, oh, it's swapping. So you go the other way or whatever. And we're going uphill, and Eric and I are just like zooming around in circles. It's so much fun.
You have to know when to lean forward too.
Yes, and then exactly, all that stuff, and it's a blast. And then we get off of it, and Melissa's not happy.
No.
No, not in the least bit. Melissa's dry land is not a myth. I've seen it. And Vince is literally
In
pouring
tears.
streams of tears down his face. He's laughing so hard.
So hard.
I
Oh, my
mean,
goodness.
it was
It was
a lot of fun.
It was fun just to be. The lights were gorgeous. Like, part of it was quiet in the gardens, and you could walk in the lights. And then the other part was the lively part with the amusement rides.
And Patrick, didn't you say we were there opening night or opening weekend?
We were there I think we were there for the first opening night, but there were a couple soft openings before. But
Okay,
I think you had to be like a member of City Park to go to those. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
were like special.
And
Not,
it's all like brick sidewalks throughout the whole park. So
it's beautiful, New
it's
Orleans.
romantic,
It is.
It's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's something
And
fun to do.
I don't even think they had all of their stuff up and running yet.
No, there
It
were
was still in the process.
there were still a few things that were not quite set up, and which was different because I've been there. Eric and I've been there quite a few times, and so it was kind of not jarring is not the right word. A little let down that some of the stuff just wasn't 100% ready to go yet. But I guess it's opening day. You're gonna see that.
Like we've from past years, we've been there later on in the season when they've got more stuff up and going. Y'all kept hearing me talk about the tent, right?
Yeah.
Well, later on in the season, they'll have a huge tent up about the
Yeah.
size of a house, and they'll have local elementary schools, local church choirs, kids coming
Mhm.
in and singing Christmas carols on Friday and Saturday nights,
Oh.
Yeah.
and listening to them, having hot chocolate, trying to stay warm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a memory for Patrick and I.
Yeah.
It was warmer there though than it was here,
Oh yeah.
even though it was cold.
It was cold.
It was humid cold there.
It was
though.
humid. Yeah, it was in the like low 50s, so it wasn't even in the 40s yet. But that wind, poof, had a strong wind. It was super humid, and so it just bit. So like when we were out in the gardens that were furthest away from everything, it was
cold.
cold. But once you got closer and the buildings started blocking some of that wind and stuff, it was quite nice. But I love New Orleans. I love the charm of the city. I love all that moss and those oak trees and the way people talk, and like it's just I don't know. It's one of my favorite cities
It was fun.
to go to. But yeah, we had a great night that night. But so we took the streetcar. If you're not familiar with New Orleans, they have these old like turn of the century, and I do mean 1800, 1900 streetcars running all over the city, and you can take that out to City Park. It's still a good little hike from there. It's probably half a mile or so,
At least.
at
yeah.
least from the streetcar to the entrance. And we endured that, And on the way back, we were like, oh, let's just Uber home. So we grabbed an Uber back to the hotel instead of sitting through that cold. And that guy was so nice and so friendly,
Oh, yeah, he really
and
was.
on about different things in the city. And
He could navigate
we
traffic.
hit some bad traffic, and he did not do what our Uber from the airport did and just sit there. He was like, no, we're not doing this, and just went all around it and got us there quickly. It was a great experience. But that was it. That was the only time we ever actually had to ride an Uber. Everything else was just walking distance, which
Yep.
was made it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very convenient. Then the rest of the time, just ate at restaurants. I made a few reservations, and I picked out a few places that didn't have reservations, and had, brunch at the Quarter Two Sisters, dinners at Muriel's, dinner at the other place that escapes my head right now. We had a brunch at the Ruby Slipper,
Yeah.
which is a really famous place down there as well. And just everything we had, like the worst food we had was great.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's the
it
thing that
was.
I love is like the worst food was delicious.
I think we checked off the gonna eat and watch live music box.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Well, y'all also introduced me to this famous building on the corner, Sazerac.
Oh, we did go to the Sazerac house, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was really fun. Went to the Sazerac house, which is a museum now, but it used to be back in the 1800s. It was a importer of
Cognac.
as they started, and then they started making cocktails that they would sell in a bottle. And then when cognac in 1800s got destroyed in it was their
From-
parasite, right?
because
There was a
of the parasite.
parasite that
The
ate all
grape
the
famine,
grapes.
yeah.
Yep. So they couldn't get cognac from France, so they changed the recipe to whiskey, a rye whiskey, and
yeah.
That where Peychaud's was
yep,
invented.
they talked about how Peychaud's bitters came around. They explained the origin of the drink. Absinthe is in a Sazerac cocktail, but as absinthe was made
Pro-
illegal
It was prohibited by
Is-
the United States
yeah.
at some point. So
because
then
they thought wormwood was a hallucinogenic and people were getting high on it, which is stupid. So
then they went to
Herb Saint,
Yep.
Herb Saint,
which didn't have the wormwood.
no, but it tastes like absinthe.
Similar.
and so they just talked you through the whole situation because the
It was a
Sazerac
walking tour. It was
Yeah.
very nice.
and the Sazerac is the official cocktail of New Orleans. If you don't know, it's literally Louisiana State Legislature passed a law saying it was, or not a law, but a proclamation. It's a good cocktail, but it's
So if you try to do this somewhere else, you'll get copyright infringement. That kind of thing.
No, I don't,
No, because it's not a copyright. It's the official cocktail, proclaimed the official cocktail in New Orleans.
yeah,
So
just
it's not like a copyright, like a
trademark or recipe or anything.
yeah. I'm trying to think of the two that I that made with rum. One with Pussers.
Oh
one,
yeah, you're talking about
painkiller.
a painkiller.
Like a painkiller, or the other one is made
hurricane?
with no. It's made with the other rum. Goslings.
Oh, Dark and
Goslings-
Stormy.
Dark and Stormy. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So they talk about how Prohibition obviously put these people out of business, and then they came back, and so we were able to just go see that whole history of everything, and it was fascinating. Like if you appreciate like that old culture, classic Americana, which I love,
It is.
and if you appreciate a good cocktail, it's really fascinating to walk through here and see all this stuff. Again, it's a museum. They have a micro distillery there.
Yeah.
I don't know what they actually make. It is tiny, but they have some labs and they do some stuff there. But we weren't there for any of those days.
And a gift shop.
And a gift shop, the huge gift shop. That's the main. The gift shop is ginormous.
Yes.
So it was kind of cool to go there and see all that stuff. And then we found out that after Prohibition, the Sazerac bar or Sazerac House reopened as a Sazerac bar in the Roosevelt Hotel, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I just figured it's closed. Doing a little bit of research, we found out it's not only like not closed, it's
Yeah.
open, and it was open while we were there.
Yeah.
So
Just up the road.
A couple
we
blocks
walked.
down.
I think it was a 9-minute walk
Yeah, about that.
over to
If
it, and the Roosevelt Hotel now is a Waldorf Astoria hotel.
Oh,
So
they had
it's
it all Christmased up. Oh my
freaking
gosh.
beautiful.
That's,
I mean,
that's
just
where I was walking to.
There
a
were
Manhattan
so many
hotel.
people in there just doing their Christmas photo op for their Christmas cards, just because it was so glammed up with Christmas. It
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Walk in, get the family photo, and leave.
Yep.
It was bananas. But to go there, the bar has not been updated since it was opened in the 40s, so it's still that like walnut veneer. The paintings are not paintings; they're wood inlays. It was gorgeous. Got to have the actual Sazerac made at the Sazerac bar from the original recipe and everything. It was fine.
It was a Sazerac.
I tried it with the cognac because I didn't know it originally was cognac. That was something I learned on the tour, and it was terrible. I do not like it.
Terrible.
It was terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
Eric,
Cognac's pretty tough.
it was terrible, and so
It wasn't terrible. It was perfectly serviceable.
it was terrible. And
I drank two of them. I drank Eric's and mine.
because it was terrible. It was terrible.
So you like it better with the rye?
So yeah, it was much better with the
I
rye
think it was
whiskey.
good with the rye too, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. But the bartender was super, super nice, man.
Oh,
he
but
was just on his game.
Very knowledgeable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was great
It
because
was nice sitting.
you go to those like high-end establishments, and they're usually a lot of them are prudes,
They really are.
and they're not welcoming. Especially
No.
like we were off the street, so we weren't dressed up,
Sure.
and a lot of people in that hotel are dressed
Well,
up.
and all the bartenders are wearing white tuxedos.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
so you do have a certain expectation, and we don't meet that expectation, and still super kind. Had a great time. Left there and went to dinner.
Yeah.
Because again, we just ate. That's
Yeah.
the primary goal was food.
It was.
Had a wonderful meal. The shrimp and grits. Oh, the turtle soup. Oh.
Oh.
My grandma used
Oh.
to make that.
Oh, with Shay.
Oh.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. The gumbo was good, but the turtle soup,
Oh, yeah.
it
was.
stole the show.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Talk about having too much to eat. I learned whenever I go to a buffet, I've got to take one little spoon of everything. Y'all probably saw that on my plate.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at your plate.
Well, that's how I have to do it. I got to go.
I was too self-involved
So
in my
Eric
own
was
plate.
talking about
Thank you.
liver and the stuffing. Nope, the
Oh,
dressing.
the dressing.
Yeah.
And
Rice-
I actually
rice
had
dressing.
liver pate at the one
She
restaurant.
did.
Pate, it was
It
amazing.
was
It was pretty
chicken
good.
livers. It was delicious
It
with
was.
the homemade pickled vegetables. It was really good.
You can't see it, but Patrick's over there saying no.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it was all
Patrick's
right.
over there saying it was terrible.
It was not
We
terrible.
did sample it.
It was not as bad as the Sazerac with the cognac. But it was not my favorite. I'll just put it that way. Eric, of course, ate all of his. He got a carbonara pasta that looked beautiful. He didn't let a single person try it. Like literally, I tried the soup. I tried my gumbo. I tried your pate, and then
Yeah.
I look over at Eric, and it's a clean plate. And I'm
Gone.
like,
All of
wow,
it gone.
already.
Good for you, Eric.
The buffet is right behind me. You're welcome to it.
Oh man, but that meal was fantastic. You got a fish dish that was covered in pecans.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Pecan
pecan-crusted.
crusted fish.
It's like a redfish or something.
It had a different name. Drum.
Drum. Yeah,
Drum.
redfish. Yeah.
Okay.
Very
And-
delicious.
Yeah. And it was on top of this sauce and
I think it was a form of spinach, cooked spinach,
yeah.
and it was still great.
And then I got shrimp and grits. I mean, if you're in New Orleans and you're at a place that's known for shrimp and grits, I had no choice, but I got the shrimp and grits and they were phenomenal.
They were amazing shrimp and grits. And the next morning, was it? I had the fried catfish and grits.
You did.
That was yummy too.
I got the trifecta. The trifecta, which is everybody listening that's driving down the road is
Yeah.
so mad at us right now.
They're trying to get some food.
They're
right?
probably
They're
they're
starving.
like it's the end of my shift. It's
Yeah.
my 30-minute break. I need to stop and eat.
Sometimes that flying J pasta pizza hits just the right. So it was a fried chicken, eggs Benedict, along with a
Pork.
shrimp, a shredded pork,
Cochon.
Benedict, along with a shrimp and.
It was like a shrimp sauce.
Oh, it was a shrimp with a sauce
Like a
and a
remoulade.
fried green tomato, and all three of them were biscuits. They weren't
Yep.
English muffins, and
They were good. It was
Oh.
the best of all what was on their menu.
she was like, they were good.
They were good.
And again,
was like
so much food you can't finish it.
Oh, it was painful. It was painful. And we had, again, that was another one where we really had great service this whole weekend, too. Like, the good food is wonderful. I love good food. Obviously, you don't get to be as fat as I do without loving good food. But we really had some great servers.
We really did.
Muriel's, which is a super high-end restaurant in New Orleans, and that's where they've got the drum, that's where we got the liver pate and the shrimp and grits and all. That guy was so nice. He came to the table. He's like, all right, what are we having for dinner? And Melissa...
He took the stuffiness out of it.
He did. And he was like, Melissa was like, oh, I'd like to have this or whatever. Or she said, can I have this? And I told him, I was like, one of these days I'd like to see someone just say no. And so she went on to order her next thing, and he was like, can't do it, sorry. Like, I just wanted to fall on the floor dying of laughter. It was so, so hysterical. Just super nice servers the whole time, everywhere we went. And one of them, actually at Muriel's, we're getting ready to leave, and the host was like, did y'all go upstairs? And we're like,
What's upstairs?
no, what's upstairs?
Do we want to go upstairs?
And so
That's where the meat pies are made.
yeah, he told us where to go, and Muriel's is haunted, and we got to go behind the scenes of the hauntedness. And then, so Eric and I are like, the guy pointed us in the right direction, then he went back to the host stand, and I'm aggressively texting Melissa and Vince, like, you gotta hurry up and come back now. And they're like, well, for what reason? And I'm like, just do it. And so they come
we were
back in.
outside on the street waiting for you.
Yeah. So they came back in, and we go upstairs, and it's this beautiful lounge area. Is that what you call it?
It looks like the recording studio, but 4 times as big and all plush.
Way more
crushed
opulent.
Red
I
velvet.
would much rather sit in
ornate.
those chairs
Oh,
for the time we
Had
do the
like
podcast.
high
than
back
this one.
couch that was all the
Yes.
crushed
Gorgeous.
ruby red.
a 2-person
Oh.
throne.
Yeah.
High pile carpet.
The beaded lamps. It was
It was opulent. It was over the top. It was ridiculously over the top, and
was
I
fun.
loved every second of it.
Yep.
So we did a bunch of photos there. They had a one of those like like the
crystal ball.
crystal ball. Thank
Yeah.
you. I was gonna say the witch lady looks at the crystal ball, but it was battery powered, so we were able to like take it and use it in the photo ops and stuff. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was
It was a good time.
It's a good time.
yeah. Then the next morning we just went and had breakfast, and then walked down the river, walked around the French, not the French Quarter, Jackson
Square.
Square. There was a brass band playing on the street. There was another guy playing guitar, doing Prince music, and then all the street art is just beautiful. If you haven't been to New Orleans, like if you're not like I don't want to go to Bourbon Street and drink. That doesn't appeal to me. It smells like pee. People vomit. You're not wrong.
No, you're not.
Right,
That
no.
is Bourbon
You're
Street,
not.
but literally a street off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful architecture. When you get down to the Jackson Square, have you been to New Orleans, Jerry?
Many a time.
Okay, so do you know around? Have you hung out in the French Quarter, like around Jackson
Yes.
Square and all?
That church is gorgeous.
The cathedral is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous. The park is beautiful. It's gated. It's closed at night, but during the day you can walk in and out throughout it. And then it's surrounded, like especially on the weekends, with all these local artisans, and their work is amazing. And they're doing it right there in front of you. So it's not like, I've been to some of these places where they have artists out, but they're not doing anything. You're like, oh, you just bought these.
Yeah.
And like this is just some Chinese knockoffs or whatever, or prints. But no, you go around New Orleans, around that area in the French Quarter, and they're literally drawing the stuff, and it's really cool to see the skill of those artists. And you've got
Tarot readers.
you have tarot readers, you have mind readers, you have palm readers, you have.
All the readers.
There was I was gonna say a chicken shawarma. That's not right. There was a shaman. There was a shaman. There was a shaman that you wanted to go talk to.
Yeah.
Not wanted to go
He
talk.
was the
We were
most
joking about it.
interesting
Yeah.
looking out of all of them.
Yeah.
He was very well dressed.
Yeah.
And it's so funny too to see the palm readers like.
Their signs.
Like their signs, their advertisement. 30 years experience, 10th generation. 32 years experience. Like it's just
Yeah.
they're just
They're trying to one-up
they're
each
trying
other.
to one up
Yeah.
each other and get your business.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
One thing we didn't see was like street performers. I mean, not the band, but did we see guys?
There was there was a group of street performers, but there was a huge crowd, and we kind of went around the crowd.
did.
They had a
Yeah.
lineup
Uh,
of people,
They had a lot of
shortest to
kids,
tallest.
yes, and they're like kids to adults, and I
Yeah.
think they were about to do some kind of like
The
He was
thing where
about
they
to
flip over 'em or
jump over
something.
'em or
yeah,
something.
something like that.
Okay, I remember now.
I've seen those guys on Venice Beach before.
Yeah.
Not those guys, but similar type of guys.
We saw those guys in London.
Yeah.
Were y'all with us for that?
No, I don't think so.
Were you with us for that?
Mm-mm.
I don't remember.
That might
that.
have just been with just Eric and I, and we watched for like 30 minutes, and it was in Piccadilly Circus, and they had a huge group of people, and they were doing some really cool stuff. But so I've seen those around the world.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we got there just when they were passing the offering plate, and I'm like, I didn't watch
I didn't
you.
watch
I'm not
anything. I'm
paying.
keep moving.
Yeah, so we kept moving, and then that's
Yeah.
when we found the Purple Rain guy. But yeah, then we went down to the river. A beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. If it was one of those white cotton ball
Mhm.
clouds.
It was like 64 degrees on Sunday when we
Sunday
left.
was nice.
Yeah, 64 degrees in full sun, so you're like not cold at all. Got there just in time for the Riverboat Natchez, which is a beautiful steam river paddle wheel. It's an authentic one, so there's no propellers. It really is a steam engine running paddle wheel.
Yeah.
So we get there and watch it cross in front of us or whatever. It was picturesque. It was really
Fitz and I have
beautiful.
ridden on it.
Yeah, we have.
I rode on it in middle school.
Wow.
Like, we went down to New Orleans. We actually played in the French Quarter. I played saxophone. Played in the French Quarter, and then put all our instruments on the bus, and then we went and did a jazz brunch thing on the Natchez. And I remember it was incredibly hot inside of the Natchez. And so I spent all my time on the outside of the rails just watching the river. But I haven't been on it. I haven't been on it since. That was
We went in 2020.
2020.
pre-COVID.
By
week
a week.
before. Yeah, week before COVID. We were down there for Mardi Gras 2020.
Oof.
After Mardi Gras, everything was shut down.
That's funny. So y'all were there at the same time we were in Brazil.
Brazil.
Yeah,
It's insane.
we were.
Yeah.
We were. Yeah, we didn't get the Brazil invite, so we did the next best thing. And
We
went to
didn't
New
know you
Orleans.
that well back then. So Jerry was like,
Yeah,
"Don't invite them."
We weren't part of the inner circle.
we were. Not, well, we were on the outskirts of the inner
Yeah.
circle.
How long? Jerry, not to switch subjects, but I'm going
What you're
to.
going
How
to,
long does
yeah.
it take you to get to Don's parents' house by car?
7 hours
With him driving?
with me driving.
No, I'm saying with. And how long with him?
It's never happened in Jerry's
Exactly.
experience.
I always drive.
I was gonna say because you drive like 80 on a 55.
No, you don't. I rode
No,
with you to
I've-
Medina. You drive.
Yeah,
Responsibly.
Going up
Well,
there.
the truck was governed to 65. Probably.
We were in his car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when you get into Michigan, the speed limit goes to 75, and I was doing 75, 80.
Okay.
That's right. I forgot you were in his car. So
Yeah.
have you ever been in a car that's 2.5 years old that looks and smells brand new?
Nope. He takes very good care of
I
his
just
car.
went there and come back, and I'm just now like at
Your
10
first oil change?
No, I'm over 10,000 miles.
Uh-oh. How many do you have for your whole lease?
36,000.
Oh.
And it ends in 6 months. All right.
Oh,
well, I think you'll be fine.
You're not going
So we should drive to Los Angeles and come back,
No,
and you'll
right.
be
We should
semi-close.
not.
Mm.
Because Acura does a nice thing where if you lease again, that will actually roll up to 15,000 miles to your
Oh,
new
you were
car.
talking about that.
What's it matter? Because you won't drive the new car.
Yeah, Will.
When you get to my age, and my knee is killing me right now, I'm thinking, wow, this is like old age knee, I think.
Oh, I think a little bit of that arthritis.
I think so. I think Arthur's knocking at my door.
No.
I'm leaning towards an SUV next time. Yeah, because we went this weekend when we got back home and did Christmas shopping.
At the
At the
Acura dealership.
dealership.
That's
No,
some good Christmas
No.
shopping right there.
but we did buy another Christmas tree and deck the
Okay.
house out.
Another
for,
Christmas tree?
Yeah.
Why didn't y'all go to? So you waited till you got here? Or you went? Did you shop in Bonner?
Nope. We came back home and then went
You
and
drove
done-
right by Frankenmuth, the best Christmas store on the planet.
Yeah. It's a cute little story, but years and years ago when we lived in Greensboro, before we were on the truck, me and Donna had only been together a little bit, and I come home from work. I used to do customer service and billing, And I come home from work, and we had a 1-bedroom apartment, so he had went out and bought a little small Christmas tree that was almost like a pencil,
Like a
the,
Charlie Brown?
Christmas
kind of
tree.
like a Charlie Brown, but it's the kind of pencil shape. They're not really big and full
Yeah.
or anything
Yeah.
like that. And it was all decked out and everything. And I thought that was so sweet. And we had that. Well, then we ended up getting on the truck. So we've held on to that all these years, and we didn't decorate last year. And this year we were like, okay, we're going to go get a nice tree. So we took my car, and that's what I was going to say. We actually had to put the seats down, and it barely fit into the back, and so I'm ready for an SUV. But yeah, we got a really nice big tree, put that up in the front part of the house because there's a lot more room, and then the small one
I was going to ask if you put the small one up still.
we also put up, and he was like, we don't need to put that up, it's small, it's ugly. And I'm like, no, that is our Charlie Brown Christmas tree because that has meaning to me.
Is that one
Aw.
in the? Is that one in the kitchen?
The big one is in the off the kitchen area.
Oh, with the
because-
fireplace?
With the fireplace and
Okay,
all
yep.
that. And then the small one is in our living room area where we have the TV
cool.
and all that. So,
That's cool.
Nice.
and then we got garland and put white lights all on the stairs area and
Oh, very
decked that all
nice.
out. And
Let me ask you this: were you prepared for the price of the Christmas tree?
yes,
Oh, well, okay, good for you.
because we got a really, really good deal.
Oh, well, I was gonna say we bought our Christmas tree, and I was like, huh, like
So I'm
I
thinking,
was like, I thought a nice Christmas tree we're gonna spend $150.
I think they really jacked the price up for it because it was right after, like
Thanksgiving.
and Black Friday and all that. We got it on Saturday, but they said normal price was like $4.99, but
Yeah.
it was marked down to $129.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So
That is a good deal. Well, we will be putting up our 3-foot tree. We're not going any bigger.
When she says we, she means she.
Mine is.
I expect to come home from work one day and
Yep.
it'd be up and
We being yes.
What's up right
the
now?
French, the French we.
we.
Yes. What's up right now?
Right now it's still fall colors.
Okay.
I've got leaves and pumpkins
Yeah.
and the orange lights in the window.
She didn't get enough of having leaves outside
Had to bring in the
because
house.
our yard is at the end of the cul-de-sac and it's where all the leaves blow. Plus we have the biggest tree in the neighborhood.
In the
So
neighborhood.
all the leaves.
All sides of the neighborhood.
And she loves them so much she brings them inside and decorates the house with them. I don't get it. I just
Anyway.
don't get it.
Your neighborhood
I'll-
is beautiful, though. We
Yes.
went and rode our motorcycle around there at
Yeah.
one point, and it was just fall colors, like
Gorgeous.
crazy
Yeah.
beautiful.
yeah.
Yep.
I'll save some ornaments for Vince.
Oh,
He'll
thank
put a
you.
couple on.
I will.
Too.
So she can get pictures, photo ops.
We had somebody put lights on the front of our house.
Yeah,
Yep.
Nice.
that might be as
As
Christmassy
far
as
as it
it
goes.
gets. I don't think we're gonna have time to put anything else up. We were talking about it, but we actually we're gonna be in Mexico for half of this month, not half this month, 10 days, and then
That's
come
about half.
and then come back and immediately go to family. So it's like
you could still put one
kind of
up.
what's the point?
They could do a 3-footer. They go to Walmart. It's like $25.99, and you get a little 3-footer. They even come pre-lit.
I thought about putting up the tree just because being from Louisiana, the tree after Christmas does become a Mardi Gras tree.
Ah, yes.
So
That's the fun
we
part.
have Mardi Gras decorations that go up, and we have it's purple and green and gold,
I've seen
and
it. Yes.
so it does like the tree does stay up for a very long time in this house, which is kind of nice. So we've talked about doing that.
It
but
also becomes a July 4th tree after Mardi Gras. So
it does. It does. It's
it's
very
just-
patriotic.
If you wanted to.
patriotic.
We put the flags up.
Very patriotic,
The candy canes work with that as well because they're
Right.
red and white. So
And then
you
on
know,
Labor Day,
when the mold fits in, it starts blue.
they celebrate Labor Day by having their employees come over and take the tree down.
Yes, it's a big party.
So speaking of traditions, let's roll into Christmas really quick. Do you leave the tree up until after the first of the year, or do you take it down before?
I am one to take it down on December 31st or December 30th because I was always told you don't roll the old year into the new.
Oh, I've
And
never
I
heard that.
leave mine. That's really cool. I leave mine up because it brings you good luck.
I always thought January 1st was the day to take down the Christmas tree. That was always ours. Like that's why employees have off on January 1st is
You have that.
Take their
You have that
Christmas
day
tree
off.
down.
Take your tree down.
take the tree down. Yeah.
Yeah.
or
Vince?
get over the hangover. It's one of the two.
One
I'm
of the
not
two,
entirely
or
sure. Or
could
both.
be both. Yeah.
Vince,
Could be
what about
both.
you for your tree?
Ours was usually up for a few days after the New Year. Now, New Year's Day was the last day it was lit.
Oh,
After that, it may just be up because we don't have time just yet to take it down.
I get that.
But it wasn't lit anymore after New
Oh,
Year's
that's
Day.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, now I will say I had a friend of mine, and I did this multiple times with them. It was a lot of fun. After Christmas, they didn't water the tree anymore.
Yeah.
And then for Christmas Eve, for New Year's Eve,
They burned it.
we would bring it outside and
Oh,
burn it,
yeah.
and it was
There's nothing like watching
spectacular.
dry
Yeah.
pine needles.
If you are
Just-
curious why everybody's so ridiculous about having to water your Christmas tree,
Mhm.
stop, wait 5 days, and then take it out. This is the part that's
Yeah.
important. Take it outside
To a safe area.
to a safe area,
not
still in the
covered.
tree stand, and just throw one match at it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is spectacular.
It's like
It
a good
is-
old fashioned cross burning kind of.
I wouldn't go that far, but it
Right.
it doesn't take long. I mean, like
it
15
doesn't.
minutes, 10 minutes, it's
yeah,
gone.
It's gone.
It's crazy.
You're talking about burning the tree. Well, if you leave Baton Rouge, New Orleans, going more west to Cajun country,
Mhm.
they have a tradition of doing fire trees on the levee.
Yes.
They'll
The-
take
the bonfires
huge
and the
pallets,
trees,
make
yep.
huge trees, equidistance along the levee, and they'll light those babies up. You
Yep.
can see them from
Oh,
an
that would be fun.
airplane.
Yeah.
Wow. What
Why-
was your tradition, Eric? Do you leave the tree up or do you take it down?
We leave it up as long as possible.
Leave it up
Oh,
as long.
and the lights and everything on it.
When all
it.
the pine needles are on the ground,
Yeah.
they're like, we need to get this out of here.
Oh, here, let's do a vote. How many have actually truly cut down a real live tree in the woods? Raise your hand.
Cut it myself?
Yeah.
No.
2 of us, 2 out of all of us. And Vince didn't do his until like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Okay, let me ask you a
well,
question.
nothing. They're from the West Coast.
yeah.
You cut a tree down in South Louisiana. It's an oak tree or a
yeah,
pine tree.
it's a little
You-
different.
you
It's a
better
little
not be
different when
cutting
it's
down
Jerry
an
like,
oak
grew up
tree.
it's
in
a
the
little different
woods.
when it's got a 90-foot diameter on the limbs.
Jerry?
Now, to be fair, I didn't do this when I was in Los Angeles. I did it with Melissa. And
Not a lot
her-
of
her
not a lot
son.
of Christmas trees growing in Los
Well,
Angeles.
You could go and get the to the Christmas tree farm. There were those and cut them down. Yeah,
I remember.
we never did because they were crazy expensive.
Oh, I remember going just as a kid to the Christmas tree lots
Mm-hmm.
and getting a tree back then. We get the smallest one they had, it was like 5-6 foot,
Yeah,
and doing that. And then when Home Depot started selling them, I remember going to Home Depot. We just get our Christmas tree at Home Depot every year, and you have to like dig through the pack,
Right.
and they've all been picked through already, and yeah, I remember all that stuff.
For-
Growing through, you got to take the tree and run it through the stockings,
yeah,
the
stuff
fishnets.
thingy. Yeah.
Yeah,
For many years, we would do that. Go to the Christmas tree lot every year and pick out a tree, and it was the whole thing where the guy takes it and knocks it on the ground to get the limbs cut
Yes.
down and look at it and find one. This is before they were doing the stocking thing, and then we started going to the railroad tracks downtown where they came in off the train. I don't believe that, but that's what
He's
they
air
said
quoting
they do. I'm
for
air
those of you
quoting
that can't
coming
see
in
him.
off the train. And then one year, my dad got a wild hair and just went out and bought a fake one, and that was it. That
Oh,
ruined
so
that whole
great. I remember
tradition.
going over to my sister, it's her best friend Laura rather. I love Laura. It's so many good memories with her. I used to pull in her hair when I was younger, and they had a fake Christmas tree. But if you remember, like early '90s, late '80s fake Christmas trees, you know what that meant. You put the stand down,
Mhm.
you built the pole,
Right. Oh, and you put the,
and then you had to go in.
the pole.
and
The pole had holes in it,
had holes.
and you put the branches in. Yes.
And you had to
Yes.
figure out which branch correlated
Right.
to which thing, and
Oh,
then
my
and then
goodness.
every one of them has to be fluffed individually,
Yeah.
and then that takes about 2.5 hours, and then
You got to string the lights.
the lights, and then the ornaments,
Mm-hmm.
and then the peppermints or the candy
Candy
canes,
canes.
and then the star on top or the angel on top, and like it was an ordeal. It was like an all night affair, and I remember doing, and theirs was huge. It was gigantic. That was. Oof.
Jerry, did you, in your area, did they cut trees in the woods or no?
No, we would go to the Christmas tree lot, and growing up, I always, we bought real trees and everything. It wasn't until I got older that we switched over to a fake one.
Melissa told me one year we were going Christmas tree hunting.
Yep.
Tell the story. Tell how you
So
do
you
it in
so
Oregon.
you got the shotgun. You racked it.
Tell how you do it in Oregon.
Well, you pack your snacks, so your lunch, your
We'll start
hot
with
cocoa, and
the tag.
yep, you go by the store and you purchase a tag. It's $5 for a tree, and then you go out into the woods and you hike around. Normally, it's in snow country, so you have to dress appropriately, and you take the dogs, and maybe you have a fire out in the woods.
You have dogs that are trained to
Tree
to
hunters.
hunt
Yeah, no.
They
You
pick
just take
the
the
best
dogs.
trees.
like the
everybody
pigs do the
runs, everybody
truffles.
roams.
They're like,
exactly. Yeah.
And you walk
I know there's a
around.
Christmas tree
You
around here
walk
somewhere.
around and you walk around and you walk around and until you find the tree that you want, and then you get the chainsaw because that's how we cut them down.
Wait. Chainsaw?
Yeah,
You made me use an axe.
I did not. You got to use the chainsaw, and then
She
and
could
then
have
you
just
cut it
rolled
down.
with that, right?
She
I
could have.
coulda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
you were
had
not
we
Paul
had to go
Bunyan.
so when I did it, we had to go to my aunt's house, and over her couch she had one of those big, giant saws,
Oh
with
yeah,
the handle on each
two-person
side,
saws.
and so we had to do that.
Yeah.
Which it was dull because it had been there forever,
Of
and it
course.
just never.
Yeah.
It was flesh wound, so I finally gave up on that, and which is why I've never cut my tree down.
It's a good time. It's an outing. It's an all half a day or 3/4 of a day. It's a good time. Usually, then you bring your tree back. Don't be prepared to maybe decorate it that day because it was covered in snow and kind of wet. So you knock all that snow off. Usually, you set it on your front porch or in an area for it to kind of drip dry, and then it can go up the next day. So it's typically the way Christmas tree hunting goes. But it's a whole thing. It's you make an outing of it, and it's fun and it's nostalgic and
I remember.
Norman Rockwell-esque.
I remember when we would get the tree, again from the
lot.
illustrious Home Depot.
Yeah,
We would go to the Home Depot
yeah.
and get our tree, and I remember we'd always come back home. It'd be the back of the Ranger. You'd choose a year. It was always a Ford Ranger, and get it home, bring it to the back porch, lay it. I remember laying it on top of that black wrought iron table that everybody had. You know the one. You know
Yeah.
the one. It's
Yes.
with
Yeah.
with the scroll legs.
Yep.
Yes.
And we'd lay it on that thing, and it would be wobbly. And then Dad would always cut a couple inches off the bottom,
Fresh cut.
and then he would go through and any loose, kind of odd pieces at the bottom. He cut those off, so we'd have a nice, pretty,
Yeah.
uniformed Christmas tree
Sure.
base, and then put it in the tree holder. But I forgot, it actually all started, this whole process started the night before, which is when Dad would get home, and then we would go into the attic.
Oh.
And I don't know if this was normal or just a quirk of that house, but the attic stairs didn't go all the way to the floor.
Okay.
So he had to back and it was accessed from the outside of the house. So he would back his pickup truck into the carport. Then we would lower the stairs down. They would sit in the bed of the pickup truck, and then you go up there, and you would pick out the tree stand, and we'd get all the
You drag everything down.
accoutrements.
Yeah.
And my family being so environmentally forward, we didn't use plastic totes. We used cardboard
boxes, of course.
boxes, which, after 20 years
Of humidity.
or if heavy humidity
Yeah.
and intense heat had the strength of tissue paper. And then we bring all those down, and careful because it's just all fragile. Everything you're touching is fragile. And then and so that would start it, and then the next day when Dad got home from work, we'd go get the Christmas tree, and then we'd have everything already
Nice.
done. That way you didn't have to do both at the same time. Because you're right, even just going to Home Depot and picking a Christmas tree out, that's an endeavor.
Oh,
You have
yeah.
to dig through all of them and figure out
one
which
that
one
fits
you want.
Your family's needs.
Yes, and there were times we would go, and it was like, none of these are good.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, we get a whole other shipment off the train tomorrow. And so you'd come back the next day and try it again.
We sometimes would have to make a tree lopsided to fit it where I would want it. So meaning, the tree was equally 3.5 feet span on both sides with the limbs. But
Oh.
on one side, we'd shave it down to a foot and then push it up against the wall
Yeah.
just to get it to fit in the space that we want. Or sometimes it would have it was perfect on the side, we thought, but once you cut it down, there was a gaping hole somewhere because it might have been mixed. So I remember there would be a hole drilled into the trunk, and then a branch would be cut off from a different location,
And it would be
and then it would be reinserted just to fill the space.
That's funny.
So those are some tips and tricks.
We never did
for
that.
What we did.
We had so our Christmas tree always was in the front window of the house. So the living room had a huge window that would face the road, right?
Sure.
And small neighborhood, so you could see right in at the Christmas tree. So which means you had to decorate all the way around.
All sides.
You know,
yes.
ours sits in a corner of our living room. There is glass windows on both sides, but it faces nothing, the backyard. So we don't really do anything with the back of it. But at the house we had in Louisiana, we had to.
Right.
And so if we had a big hall like that, it did end up in the back, and we would always put like the biggest ornaments we had to fill that space, right? Like the ridiculous giant red ball or the manger scene, because we had a couple of manger scenes that you could hang, and some of those were kind of big, so you could hang that and put that,
That's
and
funny.
it would fill that space in. But
ours was in a corner window that faced the street, but it sat up high because our house was kind of up on a hill.
Yeah.
But it was in a corner window, so it had to be a perfect tree because you could see it from the whole neighborhood. It wasn't just the cars driving by being in that, like, if you imagine your corner where you put your tree,
but facing the road,
in the road, and nothing, you don't have the trees.
Yeah, like a lighthouse. Like imagine the top of a lighthouse.
Exactly. So it had to be.
So your house was
the
the shining
around.
tree for the neighborhood.
Shining tree for the neighborhood. It really was. It truly was.
When we went shopping this year for fake trees, I was actually shook a little bit because they have fake trees now that are made for in the corners.
Really?
Really?
Yeah,
that are sheared off on the back.
Sheared off on the back.
Wow.
They're made to
They're
go in
squared
corners.
off?
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And
that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense if you're like in New York, small apartment or something like that.
Yeah, what are you going to do with that backside?
Yeah.
My house, so that was my parents' house. We talked about my house when I lived in Louisiana. My living room, we tried to build a bedroom downstairs, and that didn't work out. Then we did an office, that didn't work out. Then we did a bathroom. So my living room downstairs was always kind of in a weird, funky, odd shape or size. And so the big fake Christmas tree I had never really worked right in there. And then my corner window was actually the sliding glass door to get out.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was in just the wrong spot, you'd have to like narrowly shimmy past.
Try not to break any of the
fake razor sharp tipped Christmas arms or whatever to get out the door. So I wish that I had something like that, because that would have been perfect too.
I didn't know they made them. That's a great idea.
It is.
It was really neat.
They make flat ones too for if you're just doing on
Like
a
a
flat wall.
I didn't see like that, but we did see the corner made for corners.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, it sounds like everybody's weekend was really good.
I had a blast. And then flying home, we did fly home Sunday. We flew home Sunday night. If there's something you don't want to do, it's fly home at night on the world's busiest traveling day. So, of course,
we did.
Yeah. And I think 20 minutes. I think totally we were delayed 20 minutes.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad at all.
I didn't think there was crowds.
It didn't feel crowded at all.
It didn't feel like we were elbowing people, but it may have been. By the time we got to Atlanta, it was already late, and so that morning rush had already come and gone.
And could have been. It also could have been just the hall we were on, as well. We're on. That was a hall that's not.
Could have been.
It's not one of their busier halls, if that makes sense.
Oh, well, I appreciated that.
But we in Atlanta in particular has actually made like one of the things they've been working on is making the halls wider, making the passenger spaces bigger, so that they can handle people and not have it feel so crowded.
Yeah.
So maybe we were feeling a little bit of that, because it's. I mean, like for the past few years, every time you go to Atlanta, if you're in the wrong hall, under construction, big signs, everything. Sure. But like leaving New Orleans, it's funny. We left New Orleans. We went to the lounge because Eric and I fly so much. We get free lounge access, and we get in there and we're talking about how busy it's supposed to be, and someone made the comment of like, I can't believe how empty the lounge was.
And 5 minutes later,
when we left there, people were like waiting, like standing, waiting for seats. It was so
I hate
packed.
that.
And then even then, getting down to the gate area in New Orleans, everybody was up, huddled around the gate trying to get on the plane. But it
Yeah.
was already delayed, so I'm sure people were just anxious to get on and get on their
home.
way. But
Yep.
it it wasn't terrible.
No.
It really wasn't.
Sure was
Um,
refreshing coming out of the airport.
Whew, man, it was
15 degrees? 19?
19. Let's
Oh,
not get
sorry.
ridiculous.
19
19 degrees, and
Who's counting?
and then we get to the bus thing. So in Columbus, when you get off your airplane, if you didn't park in the garage, which who does, because it's like $40
Yeah,
a day,
a
it's
day.
ridiculous.
Crazy.
They have these surface lots that are great, and they're not too expensive.
Well, Blue Lot is gone now.
I saw that they're
Yeah, I
closing the
saw that
blue lot,
today.
They're
but
starting the massive
Yeah.
Mhm.
reconstruction.
$2 billion.
$2 billion. It's crazy.
Which is funny because we just had someone fly into Columbus talk about how great our airport was, and I'm like, really? Because we're about to rebuild it. Anyways,
For
so-
2B.
Yeah, for $2 billion. So you have to go out and catch a bus and go to one of the shuttle lots, and it's usually not very bad. But when it's 19 degrees, we were out there and we were like, "Where is this guy coming?" And we get on the bus, and the guy, as soon as he rushes to get everybody on the bus, he puts all the luggage up, and he's like, "I just want to apologize. There was someone up where he lets people off that like was literally had their car blocking 3 lanes and completely shut everything down." And they weren't able to get where they were going or whatever. Had to have police interference or whatever to get the guy to move. Just craziness, right? I don't know who would think that'd be a good idea. Like, aren't airports like the one place where you're on your P's and Q's because
Yes.
they're like,
Yes.
they take all that so seriously?
Yeah.
We had to admonish Buttermilk about
Oh my
Oh,
a
good.
gosh.
joke she
treat.
cracked.
I just. Anyways.
He
Yeah.
told me my gate was C4. What kind of a joke would you think you'd make? Yep, see?
And you don't
Jerry?
make that joke, right,
Jerry
Jerry?
understands
You don't
me.
make that joke. We all had the joke in our head. Even
Yeah.
Eric had the joke in his head. None of us said it.
I verbalized it.
He said it with a grimace, which means it was in his head too.
Exactly, it
but
was.
you vocalized
You
it. and I
vocalized
was
it.
just waiting on the cops to show up.
Just show up, snatcher.
Wow. But that didn't happen.
I'll come
thankfully.
see you on Monday when I get home, sweetheart.
He was super nice too. He's just the host. So the Sky Lounge in New Orleans. You enter in on the ground floor, and there's a host there, and he scans you in, and then you go up an elevator, and you are stairs, and then you're in the lounge. And he was so nice. And a lot of times, because that's a tough job, like especially a lot of those lounges are super overcrowded. You're constantly telling people we're full, you can't come right now, or you got to wait, or whatever. It's a tough job.
And you get a lot of entitled people.
You get a
showing
lot of
up for
entitled
it.
people showing up for it. Well, I pay my American Express bill, and I want all this stuff. And it's like, I'm sorry, like we have fire marshal capacity. You can't enter until someone leaves, and you have to wait in line with all these other people who also have American Express cards. But no, man, he was so nice and so cool. Even when we got ready to leave, he was chatting with us on the way out. Like, just
Good people.
Yeah.
good people all the way
Yeah.
around. So much fun. Oh my gosh. The taxis, we're getting ready to leave and come back. We get into one taxi, and another taxi guy's like, "Hey, that's my people. That's my fare." So they're about to fist fight over us, which I'm like, I do like being fought over. It's kind of nice. I haven't been fought over in a long time. But they're about fighting over us. And then finally we get in the cab, and we're throwing luggage in, and we jump in and close the doors, and he's out because we don't want to get in a fight. He ends up being the nicest, coolest guy. We talk
Yeah.
all the way to the airport.
Yeah.
30-minute ride.
30-minute ride. We get his business card. He owns a praline candy making company.
Yeah.
He just
I want to
dropped.
order some.
Yes, he just dropped off right before he picked us up. He has a store in the French Quarter that he supplies, and he had just dropped off all of his pralines, so he didn't have any for us to buy. He said, "I can't believe this is like normally I always have like 20 of these up here. That way people can buy a couple. It's if you're on the ride and you're interested in having some pralines, you can or whatever." And he's like, "I just sold out." He's like, "I'm just so sorry." Such a nice guy, man. The whole time it was. At first, I'm like, "Oh no, it's one of these talky people." Like, I don't want to chat the whole time, especially not all the way to New Orleans Airport, which is a long way from downtown. But he was so cool. It was just fascinating the whole time. And Buttermilk was
Engaging.
CIA level interrogation.
She was.
All right.
She truly was.
CIA level. I mean,
do.
This guy
it was.
now has
I do that when I-
crazy top secret government clearance.
I
and
do
can
that when
now
I go new
Yes.
get
places.
the nuclear codes.
What are you most proud of about your city? What do you love the most about your city?
Where's the best food?
Where's
Where
the
do you
best
and your
food?
wife go on a date?
Where do you go?
Where
They
do you
to
go
Lo-
on Friday night?
Do you know where
She
he goes?
asked-
Do you know where he goes in
Where
New
do
Orleans?
you where do you shop for linens? It was like I don't.
Yeah, linens.
They
It
go
doesn't
to
matter.
Longhorns. That one surprised
Yeah.
me. Out of all the eateries you could eat
I
in
love his reasoning.
New Orleans, he goes to a Longhorns.
Do you know why he goes to Longhorns in New Orleans?
Why?
They got a parking lot. He's like, I get so mad to go to a fancy restaurant in downtown New Orleans. The food's great, and then I got to wait an hour for my car. And I'm like, I get that. Or get towed. Like, I've done that. I've been down to New Orleans back in the day and then walked back to the truck, and the truck's just not there.
Yeah.
And there was a food cart, and the food cart's like, hey, you looking for that white truck? I'm like, yeah. Like, they came and towed it. You're going to have to go over to the ramp, whatever, blah, 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 and get it. And I had to go do all that, which was crazy. It gets better. It was crazy because it was actually my dad's truck. So I'm like, I'm going to have to call my dad and have him come down 2 hours to get this thing out of an impound lot, right?
So from Baton Rouge to New Orleans.
Baton Rouge to New Orleans to pick up his truck. Like, is this about to be a huge deal? I get there. They're like, what is it? I told them what it was. I told them whose name was registered under. They're like, it's $500-something. They take credit cards. It's one of the few places that take credit cards. They took credit cards. Took my credit card, saw my name, wasn't the name I gave them, swiped the card, and was like, all right, man, you're cool. It's
Here's
back
your
there.
truck. Oh my goodness, lucky you.
So, and they had some like Bentleys, they had BMWs, they had like all the nice cars, and I'm like,
you could have hooked anything.
this is a racket.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love New Orleans. It was so much fun.
Yeah. I want to know in the comments what you did for Thanksgiving. Did you cook on the truck? If you are currently driving a truck, what did you cook? Or what is your favorite meal that you have in your family traditions?
I saw we had a few teams
Yeah.
that actually got the extended stay hotels and cooked in the hotels, and
Yep.
we had some other teams that got together with each other and
Yeah.
did some tailgate Thanksgivings, and
Yeah.
it was very exciting to see all the camaraderie that was out there.
Absolutely. So put those in the comments. What you had, what you did, what's your favorite. Have you had Eric's dressing?
Rice dressing.
Rice dressing.
Rice dressing with liver. Have you ever had that before?
Just
Or
rice
without
dressing.
liver.
Or just right dress.
You don't have to say
yeah,
without with
yeah.
liver, just rice dressing.
Okay.
Liver's
rice.
a given.
Rice
Oh,
dressing's
given.
delicious. Rice dressing is almost the same, not quite, but almost the same as dirty rice.
I'd eat it.
Oh, I love dirty rice.
Oh, I forgot my second best food, the green beans.
There you go.
Oh, were they good?
Those are my favorite. Oh,
Yeah.
second favorite.
And then are you a hunting for your tree kind of person, or do you get it from Home Depot?
Or do you just go up in the attic or the garage and pull out the fake one?
Yeah. I want to know those things. Drop them in the comments.
And my other question would be,
Yes.
if you are pulling out of the garage with a fake one, or the attic or the basement, do you have one or two fake ones? Because we have an interesting situation where we have two fake ones,
Ooh.
and every year we have to figure out which one
Which
is
one
the
was
correct
which?
one. We did it wrong like 2 years ago. We set the trees up, and they were completely, all the ornaments are up and everything. So typically, if we do two trees, we'll do one in the basement. It's a black and white, or no, it's a colorful ornaments and all that stuff. Upstairs will typically be like a black and white tree or a red tree, or like, some kind of theme. And we got them backwards one time, and we realized that we're like, oh, tough. They're just backwards.
New tradition.
We're not tearing the trees down to figure this out.
That's funny.
So I am curious, if you are a multi-tree owner, have you ever gotten them confused and realized after the fact you put the wrong tree in the wrong spot? But until we meet again, Jerry, what do we need to know?
Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It would really, really help us out with the algorithm. And if you're interested in learning more about Hyfield and all that we do over here, check us out at hyfieldtrucking.com or give us a call at 833-HYFIELD. One of our lovely people in recruiting would love to talk to you. And
833-493-4353.
353, option 1.
Option 1.
And you can also listen to us on your favorite podcasting app. We are streaming everywhere.
Everywhere.
If you have any ideas for a topic you want us to talk about, if you have a place that you'd like us to go visit and report back on,
Yeah.
We'd be
We're-
happy to.
we're game
yeah.
for a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just drop us a comment, or You can shoot us an email at theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com.
That's correct.
What is that again?
theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com.
Melissa, that was?
The Outer Belt Podcast at gmail.com.
And that comes straight to my phone. I'm the one that actually gets all those emails. And I've gotten a few over the past season, and we've tried to throw those in when we can. But I love to have them. We certainly love getting those ideas. And, sometimes like, oh, it's a great idea. We didn't think about even mentioning that. So we appreciate all y'all. Stay safe and make good decisions.
Don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.
Bye.